Be me, 32, woman, mechanical engineer. 6 years in, and I've really honed my skills. Designed 3 patents for improved hydraulic systems. Company made bank off them. Still feel like I'm not being compensated fairly. Spend most of my lunch breaks calculating exactly how much the men in my department make versus me. Found out through careful social engineering that this guy Robert makes about 15% more than me. He's been here 8 years, but whatever. Clearly this is about gender. Start documenting everything. Every meeting where I speak. Every project I contribute to. Every email I send with ideas. Creating my case for when I go to HR. Meanwhile, at actual work. New contract comes in for designing a cooling system for industrial refrigeration units. Huge project. Overtime required. Will need weekend work for the next 2 months. Robert volunteers immediately. Another guy, James, also volunteers. They ask if I want in. Absolutely not. I already work hard enough during regular hours. Plus I have my pottery class on Saturdays, and I need my Sundays for self-care. Tell them I'll contribute during normal business hours only. They shrug and say, okay. Spend the next 8 weeks watching them come in on weekends. They're literally here at 7 a.m. on Saturdays, sometimes working until 10 p.m. on weekdays. Meanwhile, I'm clocking out at exactly 5:15 p.m. No shade to them, but I believe in work-life balance. It's literally a human right. Finish my portions of the project on time during regular hours. They finish theirs too, but they're exhausted. See them in the break room looking like zombies. Robert's wife apparently got mad at him for missing their kids' soccer games. I make a comment about how capitalism destroys families. He just nods tiredly. Project is a massive success. Client is thrilled. 3 months later, performance reviews come up. Both Robert and James get substantial raises. Like 20% increases. I get a cost of living adjustment. 3%. Are you fucking kidding me? Immediately request meeting with my manager, Glenn. Glenn is this old school engineer type, been in manufacturing for 30 years. Always pleasant enough, but clearly from a different generation. Walk into his office with my documentation binder. It's color-coded. Lay out my case. I've been here 6 years, contributed to major projects, have patents under my belt. My male colleagues are getting massive raises while I get scraps. This is clearly gender discrimination. I'm prepared to escalate this. Glenn listens patiently. He's doing that thing where he nods slowly. When I finish, he asks me one question. How many hours did you bill on the refrigeration project? Pull out my records. 143 hours over 8 weeks. All during regular business hours. He pulls out his records. Robert billed 297 hours. James billed 281 hours. They worked nearly twice as many hours as I did. Okay, but that's to their choice. I tell Glenn that I prioritize efficiency. I get my work done in the time allotted. If they need extra time, that's a them problem. Also, I shouldn't be penalized for having boundaries. Glenn does this thing where he rubs his temples. Nobody's penalizing you for having boundaries. We're rewarding people who went above and beyond on a critical contract. This is bullshit. I contributed equally during normal hours. The fact that they chose to sacrifice their personal lives doesn't make their work more valuable. My work during regular hours was just as important as their overtime. Tell Glenn this, he disagrees. They took on additional responsibility. They were here for the client calls at 8 p.m. They solved the crisis when the specs changed last minute on a Sunday. They delivered beyond expectations. I delivered exactly to expectations during the time I was supposed to work. That should be enough. Glenn says that for the standard raise, it is enough, hence the 3%. But the major raises were specifically for exceptional commitment. This is just gendered language for punishing work-life balance. Tell him I'm taking this to HR. He says that's my right. Leave his office fuming. Spend the next week preparing my HR complaint. Document everything. The pay disparity. The gendered expectations around overtime. The fact that commitment is clearly code for acting like you don't have a personal life. Women are socialized to set boundaries and then punished for it. This is textbook discrimination. Submit a 15-page complaint to HR. Get called in for a meeting with Rita from HR. Rita is this woman in her 50s, very professional. She's reviewed everything. She brings in Glenn. Also brings in the VP of Engineering, whose name is Donald. I didn't expect Donald to be here. This is serious. Good, they're taking it seriously. Rita starts by validating my feelings. Says she understands my concerns, but then she starts going through my complaint, point by point. The pay disparity, explained by years of service, hours billed, project leadership roles. Robert has led 4 major projects as primary engineer. I've been secondary engineer on 6 projects. Leadership roles pay more. Okay, but I wasn't offered those leadership roles, probably because of gender. Donald speaks up. You were offered the Henderson project lead last year. You declined because it would require travel to the manufacturing plant in Ohio twice a month. Okay, yes, but I have a cat. Who's going to watch my cat? Robert has a whole wife to handle his domestic responsibilities. The travel requirements are inherently biased against single women. Rita is writing notes. Not sure if that's good or bad. She asks about my overtime hours in general. Pull out my records. I work maybe 2 hours of overtime per week on average. Robert averages about 15. James averages about 12. But again, that's their choice. I'm an efficient worker. I don't need overtime to get my job done. Donald leans forward. Can you walk me through your typical day? Sure. Get in at 8:45 a.m., coffee, and catch up on news until about 9:15. Check emails until 9:30. Start actual work. Lunch from 12 to 1:15. I take a full lunch because studies show breaks improve productivity. Back to work until about 3. Afternoon coffee break. Maybe browse online for a bit. Back to work until 5. Spend the last 15 minutes organizing tomorrow's tasks. Out by 5:15. Donald is looking at me. Rita is looking at me. Glenn is looking at his hands. And Robert's typical day? Donald asks Glenn. Glenn clears his throat. Robert is usually here by 7 a.m. He works through lunch most days, takes a 15-minute coffee break around 2, stays until 6:30 or 7 most nights. Okay, but that's not healthy. That's literally how you burn out. I'm working smarter, not harder. Donald asks what I do during my browse online time. It's research. Industry research. Keeping up with developments. Okay, sometimes it's articles about other stuff, but it's important to stay informed about the world. The personal is political. Taking time for mental health during the workday is radical self-care. Rita asks if I'm saying I need accommodations for mental health. No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that I work my contracted hours. I deliver quality work. The fact that others choose to work themselves to death shouldn't mean I get paid less. Donald sits back. Let me be very clear. You're paid for your contracted hours. Your salary reflects that. Robert and James received exceptional raises because they delivered exceptional results through exceptional effort. They didn't just work more hours. They took on more responsibility, more risk, more leadership. When you're ready to do that, those opportunities will be available to you. This is so frustrating. They're not hearing me. The system is designed to reward masculine approaches to work, grinding yourself down, sacrificing everything for the company, being available at all hours. It's toxic. Women have been fighting against this exact culture. And here I am being punished for modeling a healthier approach. Tell them this. Rita says she doesn't see evidence of gender discrimination. She sees evidence of different levels of commitment receiving different levels of compensation. I ask if she's even a feminist. Probably shouldn't have said that. Her face gets tight. This meeting is about your complaint, not my personal beliefs. Based on the evidence, we don't find gender discrimination. We find appropriate compensation based on contribution, responsibility, and performance. She says, if I disagree, I can appeal to the executive level or seek external legal counsel. Storm out. This is exactly what I expected. Women protecting the patriarchy. Rita has probably internalized so much misogyny she can't even see it. Spend the next few days complaining about this to my friends. My friend Sarah agrees it's bullshit. My friend Jennifer says, maybe I should consider taking on more responsibilities. Jennifer doesn't get it either. She's one of those lean-in corporate feminists. Doesn't understand structural critique. Decide I'm going to document even more carefully. Start noting every single instance where Robert or James get opportunities. I don't. Keep a log. 2 weeks later, there's a morning meeting at 7 a.m. Glenn emails asking if I can attend. It's about a new potential client. 7 a.m. is unreasonable. I need my morning routine. Meditation, breakfast, getting mentally prepared for the day. Email back that I can't make 7 a.m., but I'm happy to catch up after. He says okay. Find out later they met with the potential client. Robert gave the pitch. We got the contract. Robert is now the lead engineer. Email Glenn asking why I wasn't considered for lead. He responds that the client meeting was where leads were decided. The client was only available at 7 a.m. Robert was there. So this is exactly what I'm talking about. Opportunities being given to people who conform to unreasonable expectations. 7 a.m. meetings shouldn't be a thing. It's discriminatory against people with different chronotypes. Some people are night owls. Some people have morning routines that are important for their mental health. The fact that Robert was willing to drag himself in at 7 a.m. doesn't make him a better engineer. It makes him someone without boundaries. Email this to Glenn. He doesn't respond. Take it back to Rita. She says that client availability sometimes requires flexibility. I was asked if I could attend. I declined. That's not discrimination. That's choice. But it's not a real choice if the option is structured in a discriminatory way. She does that tight smile again. Over the next month, I notice a pattern. Robert is getting all the high-profile projects. James is getting the complex technical challenges. I'm getting routine, maintenance designs, and standard projects. This is retaliation. They're punishing me for my HR complaint. Document everything. Submit another complaint. Rita is less patient this time. She brings in Donald again. Donald is very direct. You're receiving projects appropriate to your availability and demonstrated commitment level. If you want more challenging projects, you need to demonstrate that you're willing to meet the demands those projects require. What demands? Weekend work when necessary. Overtime during critical phases. Client meetings at their convenience, not yours. Travel when required. Leadership responsibilities. So basically sacrifice my entire life. He shrugs. I'd call it rising to the occasion. Others might call it dedication. You can call it whatever you want, but high-reward projects come with high demands. This is a gendered double standard. Men are expected to work like they have a wife at home. Women are expected to work like that too, but we don't have wives. We have to do our own domestic labor plus the career. It's a rigged system. Donald looks tired. Do you live alone? Yes. Robert lives with his wife and 3 kids. He has far more domestic responsibilities than you. He coaches his son's baseball team. He's training for a marathon. He volunteers at his church. He still makes time for work commitments. This isn't about gender. It's about priorities. That's different. He has built-in support systems. Partnership, community. I'm building my life as an independent woman. That takes work too. Emotional labor they're not accounting for. Donald stands up. I think we're done here. You're a competent engineer. You do good work during your regular hours. You're compensated fairly for that work. If you want more, you need to give more. That's not discrimination. That's employment. Meeting ends. I'm furious. They're completely missing the point. The entire structure of work is built on masculine norms. And when women push back, we're told we're not committed enough. It's gaslighting. Decide to start looking for other jobs, send out some resumes, get a few interviews. One place seems really promising. Smaller engineering firm. They talk a big game about work-life balance. Make it to final round. They ask about my current situation, why I'm looking to leave. I'm honest. Tell them about the pay disparity, the discrimination, the way I'm punished for having boundaries. They nod sympathetically, especially the woman interviewing me. She seems to get it. Week later, I get a rejection. Generic email about going with another candidate. Find out through LinkedIn that they hired someone. It's James. Are you fucking kidding me? James from my own company. The guy who got the big raise. Email the recruiter asking for feedback. She's honest, surprisingly. The hiring manager felt you seemed more focused on what you're not willing to do rather than what you're eager to contribute. This is unbelievable. Even other companies are in on it. Back at my current job, things are getting worse. Robert's project is going really well. The client loves him. They're talking about it becoming a long-term contract. Worth millions. Glenn is over the moon. There's talk of promoting Robert to principal engineer. That's the level above senior. That's the level I should be at. I've been here 6 years. I have patents, but Robert works weekends, so he gets the promotion. At the next team meeting, Glenn announces it. Robert is now principal engineer. Everyone claps. I don't, Glenn notices. After the meeting, he asks to talk to me. We go to his office. He closes the door. I know you're frustrated. Frustrated doesn't begin to cover it. But I need you to understand something. Robert has brought in 3 major clients in the last year. He's mentored 2 junior engineers. He's published 2 papers in industry journals. He's spoken at a conference. His project work is exceptional. This promotion isn't about time served. It's about impact. When did he even have time to do all that? Glenn continues. He makes time. Early mornings, weekends, evenings. He's hungry for it. I'm hungry for fair treatment. I'm hungry for recognition of my efficiency. I'm hungry for a system that doesn't require me to have no life in order to advance. Tell Glenn this, he sighs. I can't change the industry. Engineering at this level is competitive. The people who advance are the ones who go beyond. That's not gendered. That's reality. Everything is gendered. The entire concept of going beyond is gendered. It's based on masculine patterns of work. Glenn looks at me for a long moment. Do you actually want to advance? Or do you want to work your standard hours and maintain your current level? I want both. I want to advance based on the quality of my work, not the quantity of my hours. Then you're in the wrong field, maybe the wrong century. He says it like a joke, but it's not funny. This is my career. I worked hard for this degree. I'm good at what I do. I shouldn't have to choose between advancement and having a life. Leave his office. Seriously consider quitting. But I need the job. Bills don't pay themselves. Decide to just coast for a while. Do my standard work. Collect my paycheck. Stop trying to fight a rigged system. Few months pass. Robert's big project expands. They need another engineer. He asks if I want in. It would require some overtime, maybe occasional weekends during critical phases, but it's high-profile work. The kind that leads to more advancement. I think about it. I really do. But then I think about my pottery class, my Sunday self-care routines, my meditation practice, my work-life balance. All the things I've fought to maintain. Tell Robert no thanks. He looks disappointed, but not surprised. All right, I'll ask Thompson. Thompson is a junior engineer. Kid's been here 2 years. He's eager. I'll give him that. Always volunteering for extra work. Reminds me of Robert, honestly. Watch. Over the next 6 months, as Thompson becomes Robert's protege, Robert is teaching him everything, bringing him to client meetings, giving him complex problems to solve. Thompson is thriving. Working crazy hours, but he seems happy about it. He's like 26, doesn't know any better yet. Eventually he'll burn out and realize it's not worth it. Except he doesn't burn out. He gets promoted to senior engineer. The position took me 6 years to reach. He did it in 3. At his promotion announcement, I finally speak up, right there in the meeting. Ask Glenn how this is fair. I've been senior for 3 years. Thompson just got here. Glenn, to his credit, doesn't look surprised by the question. Thompson led the Western expansion of Robert's project. He brought in 2 new clients himself. He's developed a new specification process that we're implementing company-wide. He's earned it. When did I have the chance to do any of that? Every time I asked if you wanted to lead a project, you said no. Every time there was an opportunity that required extra commitment, you declined. Thompson said yes, because Thompson doesn't have a life. Because Thompson is probably trying to prove himself. Because Thompson is playing the game. I refuse to play a rigged game. Glenn's face does something. He looks almost sad. Then you refuse to win. The meeting ends. I sit there. Everyone filters out. Robert actually comes up to me. He's not gloating, which somehow makes it worse. Hey, for what it's worth, you're a really talented engineer. Your hydraulic designs are brilliant. If you ever want to collaborate on something, I'd love to work with you. He sounds genuine. I hate that. I work regular hours. That's fine. We can figure it out. He's being nice. I don't want nice. I want acknowledgement that this system is broken. The problem isn't me, Robert. It's the expectation that we should all work ourselves to death. He thinks about this. I don't feel like I'm working myself. to death. I feel like I'm building something. Yeah, it's a lot of hours, but it's what I want to be doing. What about your wife, your kids? Don't they want you around? We make it work. I coach my son's team. I have breakfast with my kids every morning. I take Sundays off. But yeah, I work a lot. It's a trade-off. Trade-offs shouldn't be necessary. He shrugs. Maybe. But they are, at least for now. You can be mad about it, or you can work with it. Walks away. I sit there thinking, maybe he's right. Maybe I can't change the system, but I also can't bring myself to feed into it. Can't bring myself to sacrifice everything for a company that sees me as a replaceable cog. So I stay where I am, senior engineer. Regular hours, standard raises, watching others advance past me. Telling myself it's because they're willing to be exploited. Telling myself I'm the one who's really winning. Because I have work-life balance. Because I have boundaries. Because I refuse to play their game. But sometimes late at night I wonder if maybe the game is the only thing there is, and I'm just sitting on the sidelines, calling it principles, when really it's just fear. Fear of what I'd have to give up. Fear of what I'd have to become. Fear that even if I tried, even if I put in the hours, even if I sacrificed everything, maybe I still wouldn't be as good as Robert. And that's the thought I can't stand. So I don't think it. I think about gender discrimination instead, about structural inequality, about how the system is rigged. It's easier that way, easier than admitting that maybe, just maybe, I want the rewards without the work. I want the recognition without the sacrifice. I want to have it all, without giving anything. But I'd never say that out loud. Instead, I'll keep filing HR complaints, keep documenting the unfairness, keep insisting that my way should be enough, even as everyone else passes me by, even as I stay exactly where I am, stuck, and calling it justice.